Yo, guys, welcome back to the Lunar Nation podcast. This is your host, Sagoon, and I want to introduce my fellow co host, Arrow, Franz, and Harsh. You guys want to say what's up?
Yellow.
Hey, what's up, everyone? What's up?
What's going on, people?
Okay, cool. So, I want to introduce the podcast topic that we're going to discuss about today. And if you guys have been living under a rock, I just wanted to introduce this person. His name is Andrew Tate, also known as Emery Andrew Tate, who's a British American kickboxer. He's a multi-millionaire, four-time kickboxing world champion. He's very relevant because of the recent situation that's happened to him of being canceled on a lot of social media platforms, such as YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So we want to discuss about why he got canceled and all the details about him. And also I want to introduce about the whole idea of cancel culture, which is basically making sure that any powerful celebrity gets their status gets removed, such as J.K. Rowling. Also, Donald Trump recently has gotten his status removed and banned from Twitter because of some of the controversial stuff that apparently he said. And then I wanted to also talk about the media censorship, where there's certain countries such as China that restricts people from viewing certain media platforms because they would be swayed in a different way, or their minds would be kind of manipulated, because social media is such a powerful tool that can get in our minds and convey a message to us. So I want to start off and get your guys' opinions on what do you think about Andrew Tate or cancel culture, media censorship. Just wanted to get that get the perspective.
Right, I see Sagoon your points. The majorly, I don't want to talk much about entertain. I mean, yeah, that's the kind of thing that sparkled this cancellation culture and got us looking into the things. But more so than Andrew Tate's opinions and what Andrew Tate is, I want to talk about how the cancel culture is going on and what happened to this guy. This guy was basically just banned from all social media, Facebook, YouTube, and they had all sorts of comments saying this guy has a lot of hate speech and guided his followers towards the hate mindset, and that's the major reason they kind of canceled them. And also, TikTok said misogyny is a hateful ideology that is not tolerated on TikTok. I mean, this was covered by Forbes and all major magazines and news articles. They covered this cancellation of Andrew Tate. So majorly, I am more so focused towards finding out what's going on with these major media houses and why are they trying to cancel people? Is there something they're trying to suppress or trying to move our culture or the youth in a specific direction that they want? I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm trying to find out and debate.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, Harsh. I think these major companies, such as Twitter, Instagram, they have their own policies that they abide with, and anyone that tries to speak out against their whole system will get punished for it. And Andrew Tate was one of the individuals that spoke out when not really a lot of people would speak out, because they're very scared of their career, their jobs on the line, and their social media presence is on the line. Andrew Tate himself said in his podcast that he doesn't care about all the status that he can get from the social media itself. He wants to convey a message to different people of what he believes in, and also specifically young men to become more of a masculine version of themselves. Franz, do you have
Sure,
anything to say about that?
sure. I mean, well, first let me connect to your first point that you made in regards to these companies banning him. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, these companies are private, so they have their own agenda. Just like we as individuals have our own agenda, what we want to pursue. These companies are privatized; they have their own agenda, so they can basically decide on who to kick off, who to promote, things of that nature. It's kind of like a fine line or like a gray area that you're going in between when it comes to like banning someone like Andrew Tate, because at the end of the day he is using his freedom of speech, which is the First Amendment. Everyone is entitled to that, to say whatever they feel, and it's protected by that, the First Amendment. So like I said, it's a great line because he is saying what he's thinking, but he does have a lot of influence in these social media companies such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. They're aware that he's reaching millions and millions of people, and they're worried of what kind of mindset it create for especially the youth, because the youth is what's very prevalent in these social media sites. So now, I mean, it's the balance of, did they what they did, was it right, was it wrong, was it justified? Because here's the thing, we saw with the ban of former President Donald Trump. But what I've also noticed is that, because it's very biased too, because I've seen other people on there, we see online bullying, and I think that's not even there's not even a light on that. I mean, I know there's people, there's organizations,
They've
trying to bring
tightened
light
up
to
on it.
this.
They've kind of tightened up on it, but it's still there, like you said, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, look at it this way. There's so many millions of people on there, and there's a lot of online social bullying, social hate, and you don't see people like that getting canceled or kick off these platforms. So you have to look at. I understand what they're trying to do is they're trying not to. Again, I'm not saying Andrew Tate is right or wrong. I'm just saying that he has a right at the end of the day to say what he professes. But we also see other people, whether it's on the left or right or in the middle, wherever it might be, doing their online bullying, professing, proclaiming whatever ideas they have, and we don't see them getting banned. It seems that people that have a lot of power and influence over the masses are getting hit the hardest. So now, does it come down to, is it fair or not? I mean, again, it's a fine line, because these are private companies, so there is a issue with that. But again, there's a
It's
regulation
their
issue.
choice.
So
It's their choice,
To
right?
yeah,
And
your
it
if
is
they
no,
a
to
want to
choice,
keep
your
but
point, France. To your point where you say, the people who have the most followers and most influence are the ones who get hit the hardest. I think that's correct. That is the way it should be, because the people who have the majority of the masses behind them are the ones who can affect the majority of the masses. People who are like people like middle class people who just exist on social media to have a social media account and bully people, or put down hateful comments. There's like thousands and thousands of them, like millions of those people. So you
for
cannot
sure.
ban each and every one of them. But people who have a mass behind them, if they say something that's not correct, not socially acceptable, then obviously they should be taken down. Now, I'm not saying that Andrew Tate has said something that's socially inaccurate or not correct, and he should be taken down. I'm just trying to put a point there.
Sure, and
yeah,
that's why I said there's like a gray area in between that, because at the end of the day, yeah, you're right. Someone like Andrew Tate or Donald Trump or whoever it might be has a lot of influence to turn the mass. But even how you said, there's thousands and even millions of people that are doing online bullying. I mean, we've seen it, especially right now. Is the suicide rate has been high, and a lot of cause of it is because of bullying online mostly. And I mean, yeah, I mean, I mean, how am I trying to say this? It's kind of like saying one life doesn't matter against the thousands of lives that are going to be affected, which kind of seems wrong. But at the end of the day, these companies are privatized. So again, there's a fine line there, because sometimes people can be like, oh, okay, that one life that is getting affected by bullying and could possibly end his own life through suicide is okay, but this person mentioning his own mindset to these millions of people, and what kind of repercussions it's going to have in the future, that's not okay. So again,
No,
everyone
well,
has.
I understand your point, but I think where you said, one life doesn't matter against thousands, I don't think that's accurate, because if you look at social media these days, all the accounts and every comment that you see, every message that you see, whatever content is visible to you, you can report it and block that content, and you can even mention everything what's wrong with it, and they would respond on it pretty fairly quickly in probably 24 to 48 hours. They do that. And now
but the
get
Yeah,
thing
but
is,
did
this.
you hear about the
They
Facebook whistleblower that came out several months ago? I don't know if it was several months ago or a year ago, that actually stated, like, she had like papers of like Facebook intentionally trying to stir up controversy during the election between like the left and right. I don't know the full details of that
Oh,
case.
that's always been there. That's always been there. Social media is always something that would, that has the power to um, polarize masses. That it always
For sure.
is. I mean, they made it in. They did that in the first place. They have that power in the first place to do that. That's their motive behind it. Do you know like when WhatsApp was bought out by Facebook or
Yep.
Meta right now? The guy who started WhatsApp was initially on with the team to work with Facebook for WhatsApp, but then he left the team real soon as well because they wanted to change people's behavior based off of their messages. That's what they were
Right.
doing.
Interesting.
Based off
Interesting.
of the messages,
Technically,
they would
it's
scan keywords and look for behavioral patterns and suggest their ads as per those patterns. That's what they would do.
I want to suggest one thing as well. I don't know if you guys agree or not, but the thing is, there's been a lot of like racist comments and all that stuff. If you go through Twitter and you look at all these comment sections. I'm on Twitter all the time. And if they say like some kind of controversial stuff happens or something happened in like sports or something, people put like, racial remarks and stuff like that. Do you guys believe that these social media websites should have like a KYC kind of system where each person is associated with their identity so that, they can't, so it's basically them, so they can't really get away with it because there's
hold
so
on. What's
many
a
fake Twitter
KYC?
accounts.
What is that? What is that?
Know
Oh,
your
KYC is
customer
know your
is know your
customer. So,
customer. Just
so basically,
basically attaching more ID and more traceability to each and every user
Oh, I see.
account.
It's kind of like how
harsh.
Bitcoin has its blockchain where it can't be duplicated type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, you
Okay.
gotta
Exactly.
verify your account with a picture or photo ID or something, and that's the only way you would be able to use your account. That's what
Yeah,
KYC
that's I
is.
like that. That's smart. I
Yeah,
actually didn't
but
think
see,
about
here's
that.
the thing. Here's the problem with that. I understand that that gives you more traceability to the users, but what happens there is now, for instance, you are in a store and you see a person of color and there's another white person. Now they have a racial argument between them, and one of them calls the police. You know what happens? Nothing happens. Police doesn't register a case against them because it's whatever you can choose whatever you want to say. So that doesn't really matter. I mean, that's basically freedom of speech. They can say whatever they want to say on social media. You cannot hold people accountable for saying racial things.
But the thing
Right.
is,
That's not
So
but
the
at
thing
also
all.
is, so kind of like goes back to the question: do you think it was correct that Andrew Tate was canceled off these social media sites, even though what he was saying was enacting his freedom of speech and thinking what he was?
See,
I mean, saying what he was thinking.
that's
I
what I'm
think he was
saying. That's
exercising. Yeah, I think he was exercising his First Amendment. I mean,
No,
he
that's
he was.
true. That's true. Freedom of speech is always there. You got to do that. I mean, you can say whatever you want to say. Like just like us, anyone could, tomorrow get up and make up a podcast and put on their opinions and ramble about something for 2 hours and put it on out there. And the people who support them are gonna like them. The people who don't support them are not gonna like it. I mean, that's always freedom of speech is understandable. That's there. But my point is, I think why Andrew Tate was canceled was because he had a mass of a following. Right now,
For
his
sure, for
speech
sure.
affected a mass. Now, definitely there would have been people or accounts who reported Andrew Tate. That's 100% true. That's
Yeah,
why they took action against him.
he's gonna have haters, of course, right?
All of
He's
everyone, every opinion is going to have an opposing opinion.
yeah.
Whatever opinion
Otherwise,
you put out there, that opinion is going to have an opposing opinion. And just like Andrew
no one
Tate,
thinks
he
alike,
had an
right? No one thinks
opinion.
alike. No one thinks alike.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
he had an opinion. He had a mass following, and that's why he also had mass haters. That's given. That's like for a fact, and that's
Because he
why
had
probably he got a lot of attention from all the social media
feminist.
houses on a higher level, and that's why probably he got canceled.
If you like look at his TikTok numbers, it's actually like mind-boggling itself. Like you go through every single like you just go through your for you page because I do use TikTok a lot. All you just see is Andrew Tate, Andrew Tate, Andrew Tate. You can't really avoid him. He's hard to even be like it's like every single time. It's so crazy. I've not seen a person this viral ever. Anything that he says will get chopped up, 30-second video, TikTok's made.
Well,
TikTok's made.
you gotta remember the algorithm picks up your video watch. So if in case you watched Andrew Tate would show up. So going moreover, Andrew Tate. I'm more curious, Sagun. I know you know like how he began. So like I feel like a lot of people when they watch him, they just automatically assume like this guy is like just wanna is like a wannabe. He's like acts like he made it and so, and that's why he has like a lot of haters because I mean, here's the thing: you're bound to have haters, and you're about to have like people who will support you. That's just how life is. That kind of resembles like yin and yang. You're not gonna have all good, nor are you gonna have all bad. But in Andrew Tate's case, he was just growing in popularity, and I believe like a lot of young folks were watching him a lot, and that propelled like these social media platforms or the mainstream platforms to look into Andrew Tate and be like, you know what, this guy's getting way too popular, and his
In
maybe
the
his
radar.
philosophy,
Yeah.
yeah, and then his philosophy could be like, definitely not an average opinion. So he doesn't really speak like what other people speak. So he's not like the sheeps of everybody else. He doesn't go the same way as everybody else did. So when he did what he did, he stood out, and he stood out like a sore thumb in a field of grass. And then
Yeah,
so all
exactly.
that attention was against him.
Yep.
And yeah, I guess he did get blocked and he did get kicked out. And yeah, there's definitely, I guess there's some type of corruption in the system where people, if they like you, they'll let you stay. If they don't like you, they'll kick you out. That's just how it goes. But I mean, at the end of the day, he moved on and he's now in Rumble, which we
Exactly.
yet to see how much it's gonna grow.
Oh, I mean,
You
honestly,
know,
if you've looked at his numbers, you look at Rumble, he has like over 900K followers. I mean, you look at that, it's crazy how people when they're banned from all these social medias itself, it gives them more attention itself because he was on every single news platform. NBC was covering, Fox News was covering. He did an interview with Fox News as well. So it just gave his Rumble identity more of a fueling to the point that's in his I think in his first live stream when I was watching that he had like 90,000 concurrent viewers. So it's very crazy that like you try to cancel a person, but the person's so powerful that you can't really cancel the whole fan base itself. So
I
harsh.
would say I would say, I think what happened here was Andrew Tate had some polarized opinions, some controversial opinions. If you look at other influencers and social media stars that have mass followings, what they basically do is they basically wake up in the morning, post a picture of their workouts, post a video of their workouts, say I'm gonna go get this coffee, this is my lifestyle. That's about it. Whereas Andrew Tate and I would also like to point out the former President Donald Trump. Both of them had this one thing in common, that whatever falling they had was actually following their opinions. Was actually affected by what the person had to say. So that's what I'm thinking. Probably the reason these guys got canceled was they had something to say, and the followers were actually going by their opinions and trying to question things, and looking digging deeper into things. Now, on one hand, where Andrew Tate also told the Lad Bible platform, it's very unfortunate about how people have dug up his old videos where he was playing a comedic character, as in his own words, and they have been taken out of context and amplified to the point where people absolutely people believe absolute false narratives about him. So that's what he said about those older videos. And even when he was being canceled, I think in the very recent past, he had been investing money towards charities supporting women.
Oh
Now,
yes.
how do you weigh that out? I mean, he was trying to do something good, or was it just showing people that I'm capable of doing something good, even
I
though he
mean,
did not actually believe in it? Because that could have been just a move to save himself, just the last couple pushes from a person drowning out.
I see your 2 points, Harsh, and thank you for bringing that point up because just before he got actually axed from Instagram itself, he did do an Instagram post saying every single like that he would receive, he would donate it to a men's mental and then women's abuse, I believe, something like that. But before and he said it would expire in 24 hours. So before the 24 hours expired, Instagram completely axed him. I think it was like August, like late August, when Instagram axed him, and he went on Twitch on Aiden Ross. If you guys don't know, he's a very popular Twitch streamer, and he explained himself saying he actually wanted to help people out and make sure that they get the support that they get from his messages. What and Harsh did say that whether it's like his last resort of staying in this social media ecosystem and saying like sorry to Instagram, I am making a positive difference. He only knows that, right? He only knows the real answer to that, but he did try to play both parts. When he realized he was right on the border of being canceled, he tried to play a more of a nice guy and tried to say like, oh, I do give out to others. So it's interesting
Yeah,
to
he
see
tried to
from both
do
perspectives.
damage control because at the end of the day, he had built up a reputation, and he was able to get his word
Exactly.
out through these social media platforms, which he would consider being part of the matrix. But it's like a double edged sword because yeah, he might consider it being part of the matrix, but he was also able to get his message out through those social media sites because they did have hundreds of millions of people using anywhere from Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all those social media sites. And like I said, it's a double edged sword. But going back also to even what Harsh mentioned, stories come out of him, and whether they're true or not. I know he came out and did explanation, provided proof. But what it comes down to is people don't want to hear the truth when the lie is more entertaining. They would
Oh
rather
yeah,
hear something that's a lie because there's more drama, entertainment in that. Than when the truth comes out,
people love
there's
that.
less eyes on that.
People love attention. That's the thing, right? People
Yeah.
love that kind of like conflict of interest and making sure that if there's like some kind of argument that's going on because no one's gonna watch like civil people be like, oh hey, how's it going? How was your day? Instead of saying like, oh, you know what, like someone can't
Exactly.
drive,
You're
or
correct. That's
yeah,
a great point.
yeah. So you can't like there's it's that opposite kind of viewpoint itself, right? Like anything that you see with TikTok with viral views itself is always some kind of conflict that's going on and people arguing, so I want to kind of get your guys' perspective on, like advantages of, cancel culture itself. So it does allow, people like that are marginalized or people that don't really have a say to be able to express their own opinions. What do you guys really think about that? Do you guys think that cancel culture can work itself? Like, do you
Well,
think cancel culture should
I
be
would.
on and allowed, or
I think the cancel culture is not. It's not become a culture so far. So yet, I don't think so. It's become a culture yet. But it's more so these polarized power trying to use trying to keep people away who other than them who could use their own platform to polarize people. Like Facebook is basically modifying people's behavior by learning all their patterns, what keywords do they use in their chats, and what exactly their mood is at all times. And they're trying to give up certain ads and certain directives to people in order to act in a certain way where Facebook profits from it, where they click these ads and go buy these things, what they need and what time do they need it. They have all that data. Like Facebook has become a huge data center. That's what they've become. A data company is what they've become.
of
And
course, and
now, when you say
all
that cancel culture is good or not, I think these people are basically just trying to keep people who have a polarized mass away from social media. That's all it is.
yeah,
They want to try to use it in their benefit, not have other people benefit from it. So we can never have a true social media platform without them trying to benefit out of it. Because again, like look at it, Facebook's free, WhatsApp is free,
a
your
lot of the
Instagram is
is
free,
it's
TikTok
free.
is free, but why are they free? What's the reason? WhatsApp started free, but at the end of the day, they ended up selling that company for how much, I think 19 million or 19 billion dollars
I think
to
it was in the billions
um
for sure.
Yeah, not
yeah,
million. And
yeah,
what's that really
whatever it
big?
was, whatever the figure was, they ended up selling that company to Facebook. I mean, the people were there to make money eventually. That's what the goal is. Everyone wants money, everyone wants power, and
Business
that's what
people.
Facebook did. They used WhatsApp, they bought it. Obviously, they have invested that money into it, so they're gonna try to get something out of it. That's 100%. So before the question here is, or the point here is that every time you try to use a social media app, you're gonna have to ask this question: why is this application free? What is that company getting out of me by using that application? What is it? And every time you're
So
gonna end up to the same answer, that they're getting that data. That's it. They're getting that data.
that's a really good point,
Data is
Archie.
basically the new modern era of oil. Basically, I mean, these companies
Yeah.
are making
Yeah, pretty much.
billions, if not even trillions. I mean, if you allocate all these datas from whether it's Facebook, Instagram, I mean, Facebook and Instagram are the same thing, but TikTok, Amazon, eBay, all these, whether it's the marketplace, the social media
Even
companies, it's
Google
just
itself, a
data,
Google
data,
search
data.
itself, even a
Google, I
Google
mean, Google,
search,
man,
yeah,
Google just controls like 85 to 95, 90% of the total search engine optimization,
pretty
search
much.
Oh
engine
yeah. Oh yeah.
space.
Google Ads are the most. I think the has the vast majority of ad revenue over across the revenue streams. Like that's just huge.
Yeah. In terms of just because you mentioned about all these ads and stuff, I want to kind of divert the topic into more of like the media censorship. Like, what do you guys think? Like the differences between, I guess, the United States and countries such as China itself, because China, as you guys know, have like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook banned. Why do you
They
guys
do.
believe that? Pardon? What did you say,
I said
Arrow?
they do.
Yeah. So why do you guys think that they really ban
Well,
these
again, that's
I'll tell you why.
it's the same answer. I go ahead, Arrow.
Oh, okay, it's my opinion. So my answer to why China does not have those platforms is number one. If you look at these platforms, from like China's point of view, it's mostly controlled by. It's mostly like stationed within like United States of America, and usually like that's a source of influence on one society. So what China's interpretation of such platform will be is like, oh, once I introduce like a platform like this, and people like these major companies collect data off of our people, they'll be able to manipulate and bring in like basically propaganda or anything that the Chinese government would not see deemed fit for the health of the country, and that could like interpretate like create revolutions, create drama, um illness. To give you a bigger example, like it's more of like if you look at the opium wars with China and how they were fighting the British military. The British Empire at that time introduced the opium to weaken the Chinese society, and also to take advantage and make a lot of money. And what they also did is when they made that, like, when people became addicted, they what they did is it was an easy invasion. So I'm not necessarily saying that's one of why China's not letting these platforms in, but China's like it's also concerned about, like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still modernized. Something like a Trojan horse could come in your way, and at the end of the day, there could be like troops inside. But China has its own platforms and they're controlling it themselves, because at the end of the day, their goal is to survive as a government. Because I mean, nothing lasts forever, but they do their best to survive as long as they can. So they do censorship, they do whatever whatever deemed fit to survive as a government. Not that I'm not necessarily saying we don't even do that too. We do that too here as well, but not to a greater extent that they're doing. But I mean, if you look at it, they're just looking out for their own
Yeah, for
interests.
sure. And I think
So
Oh, go ahead, Arch. What were
yeah,
you saying?
so in essence, what Arrow you're trying to say is that China does not want external social media from outside the country controlling their masses,
Yeah, yeah,
Instead, they want themselves to control masses by making up their own social media, right?
exactly. Because you got
So
remember when we
yeah.
were talking about the electrical vehicles. You got to remember when you like introduce electrical vehicles in China, like an American company comes into
Hmm.
China, the Chinese government will be like, okay, cool, but you're gonna have to partner up with one of our local companies because at the end of the day,
Yes,
we don't want you to take full control. We still want
exactly. You're
to
right.
understand
Totally
what you're
right.
doing.
There's I think 3 or 4 different companies in India, smartphone companies that originate from China, and they have given out such cheap smartphones. And India has a huge population; it's 1.5 billion, right? They have given out such cheap smartphones, and they funneled all of that money right back to China, right back to China. They faked sales. They made their stock go high. They funneled all that money, made all that money, and tried. They were trying to funnel it back to China, and the income tax services caught him red-handed and had that money pulled back right away. And also, when you mentioned the electric vehicles, I think the Tesla's Gigafactory in China has shut down due to some conflict with the government, probably. That's what happened. They did not have enough support from the government and infrastructure backing up to produce vehicles in China. So the BYD, the company, the EV company from China, has surpassed all EV companies around the world to become the largest EV company by far. And
Yep,
I
that's
agree to your point when you say that China is using, that's exactly what I wanted to say. And I knew this is the point you're going to make. So I said, go ahead and put it right out. I knew you would articulate it better. So
yeah.
um,
You can read his mind,
that's
Harsh.
yeah. I mean, that's the same thing. I mean, everyone wants power. Everyone wants to control masses and control people. Now, whatever way they choose to do it, it doesn't matter. I mean, they are going to do it. What if Andrew Tate comes up with his own social media application and tries to control masses?
See, that's
I mean,
that's
that's
that's one part of his plan that I think he said stage 2 or stage 3 that he was announcing. It could be a good theory itself. What if he does make something like that? I think just because of his reputation
Sagoon,
itself.
I would like to point out one thing. I would like to point out one thing.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
You're using the word itself wrong here.
No, sorry about that. I think if I use the word itself, I think I would have more followers than
Sagun is
Andrew
very
Tate.
excited. Let's just
You
keep it.
know.
Let's say
Yeah.
it that way. He's very excited. I mean, Andrew Tate
I
is
want to.
like his hero, which
No, no, no,
Yeah,
you
not
can
my
tell
hero.
us that
you're correct.
100%.
Not my hero. Let's not get off topic. Um,
Okay,
I want
okay.
to say one thing. Another social media platform in China itself that we didn't really mention is TikTok itself. TikTok itself came from China, and you guys know the whole situation with the U.S. and China itself trying to get the data because TikTok was at one point, apparently almost being banned. And correct me or not, Harsh. I think TikTok is actually banned in India as well. So
Yes, there's a lot of companies that are the applications, and a lot of shit from China that's banned at this point in India. But you know
yeah,
what? I think we have covered the vast majority of the topic here, and we have put forth a pretty good question to people. How this cancel culture is going on, and try to question what kind of applications to use, what to use, and where their data is going, how to control it. Not how to control it, but how they can try to control it by asking questions, and what these applications are doing with their data. Every time you accept on that terms and conditions agreement, you put out all your data towards these applications. And iPhone also has this new feature of tracking data from different across the apps, and that's just shitty how they take all
Yeah,
our
you're
data
basically
and
giving
Yo,
up your
modify
rights.
our behavior.
if you want your to know how much data you're getting tracked, so you could download like certain apps that do block. So you could
Hmm.
there's certain apps that block data from being gathered from certain like all these platforms like Google, Facebook, Instagram, so on and so forth. So if the audience is curious and they're like I don't want anyone to attract to gather, like I don't want to be a little hamster in a bubble and they're looking at me on the outside. You can always download these blockers. But bringing the episode to like I feel like we covered a lot about cancel culture, Andrew Tate, and so forth, like China and how the
The
information
data
is
is being
being
used to
controlled.
manipulate
Yeah, yeah.
people.
So data, yeah. So long story short, let's sum up the to sum up the episode. Data is basically our habits, and our habits are usually repetitive. So when we're repeating a process and that's repeated over the smartphones, they're gathered, and what they're gathered is their information to be used against us, not against us. Well, how would I say it? It is technically against us
To
because they're
manipulate us,
making,
to manipulate
yeah,
us
they're
in
making us
certain ways.
buy all of these luxury goods that we don't necessarily need. But moral of the story, Andrew Tate has brought light into our, our vision. Not that I'm not necessarily saying it's true 100% correct, nor am I saying it's 100% false. But I just think we covered it by a good amount, and I feel like we could talk more about it, but we'll let the audience decide what kind of questions they'll be curious for us to answer. So, if any of the audience, if you're listening, give us a comment, ask us any questions, and most importantly, like, subscribe, and rate our
Follow,
episode.
share, rate our
Yeah,
podcast.
follow, share,
Do the
follow us
whole
on
social media deal. Do the whole social
yeah,
media
yeah,
deal.
follow
Just
us on
spread the
YouTube,
word.
Instagram, Twitter as well. Like any support that we get, we appreciate it.
Yeah, make sure you comment only positive things. We don't want that negative stuff. And remember, don't be. Yeah, remember, don't be a top sheep.
Yeah,
Don't be a
only
top
top
shit.
G's allowed. Only top G's allowed in our podcast, by the way. Yeah, to
Oh
listen to
yeah,
it.
oh yeah, totally.
If you guys can think for yourself, you guys are welcome. If you guys can't, then you guys are top sheeps.
But
You
yeah,
know.
people, check us out. We're on all platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram, YouTube. We have our link in bio. We're
I got,
everywhere. Check us
yeah.
out.
Yeah,
Listen,
I think all
we
the
covered
socials
a
are
lot of information. The audience knows exactly what they're gonna do. So,
exactly.
audience, you decide.
Yeah, Harsh, you're
We
like a
enjoy
walking
talking to you.
billboard.
So, have a good and great day, and we hope to see you on our next episode. Thanks. Bye.
Peace out.
Don't be top sheep.